Recently I created a charcoal study of Undyne and realized the genius behind her design. While drawing I realized something. Undyne the Undying feels childish. One of, if not the, most difficult fights in Undertale, and feels childish. In a subtle way, sure, but once you notice it, you will never stop noticing it. First and foremost, Undyne's design. Specifically, there are three distinct elements I want to talk about. The heart motif, the elf shoes, and the smile. First of all, the heart motif. While it acts as a way to represent Undyne's overwhelming determination, it also is, in a way, corny. Children draw hearts on female superheroes, yet they are also reserved for one of the most serious moments in the game. Second off, Undyne's elf shoes. They originated in medieval Europe, with Poland's Krakow's being one of the first examples. Eventually they became associated with weird and magical creatures, such as elves and leprechauns. It reinforces her mythos in an extremely childish way, almost through imagining herself as a myth. Lastly, her smile. Undyne is quite literally fighting to save the world, yet she is smiling. Conventional superheroes like Superman wouldn't smile while saving the world, at least not while he's trading blows with Darkseid or whoever the hell his nemesis is. You only really see heroes smiling while saving the world in kids shows or cartoons. Yet Undyne only stops smiling for a second when she's defeated. Heck, she even dies smiling. Not only that, but during the fight it looks as if she had two front teeth. They're not fangs or anything like that. Two asymmetrical front teeth. Or it could be a tooth that's knocked out. I don't know. But the effect is the same. Makes her feel more childish, because usually for an adult, you'd see a perfect set of teeth. Only children are really seen or presented with teeth like this. Overall, we can agree that Undyne, before the fight, has a really bad bum monologue. But I'd like to zoom in on one of the final things she says. Right now, everyone in the world, I can feel their hearts beating as one. She invokes the power of friendship. The stakes are literally universal, and she decides she's the embodiment of the shonen trope now, drawing from her power of friendship. Sure, the narrative does justify this, but honestly I would imagine Undyne would be pretty hyped that the power of friendship is a real thing to some extent. Not only that, but she expected to win. As seen when she says, so even that power, it wasn't enough? This childish naivety of thinking you'd win just because you tried your hardest. Instead of fearing us, Undyne felt cheated that her literally being too angry to die wasn't enough to kill us. She was cheated, I give her that, but again, it is extremely childish for a first reaction being, I should have won. And there is the flavor text. It explicitly says, the heroine appears. Well, the flavor text's assertion is the narrator's, or whoever that may be, as opposed to Undyne, the Undying's. It shows that Toby Fox is trying to be as subtle as he always is, when trying to communicate something. Undyne sees herself as this corny hero, the hero that will power the friendship the hell out of the big bad and save the day. This is a relatively shorter point, but it's still huge. Up until the halfway point, you see that her boss track is pretty conventional boss music. Quick bass, high energy drums, etc. Up until 1 minute 35 seconds, where it switches to 3/4 time. All the instruments drop out except for a piano, a tambourine, a plucked string instrument, and a choir. This, combined with a 3/4 time signature, carries a medieval and almost fantastical element. This only reinforces this legendary feeling that Undyne the Undying has. Again, she's presenting herself as a myth. In fact, presenting yourself as someone straight out of a fantasy is literally what children do. They have fantasies. Only difference is that Undyne does it for real. And is that for real? And that's how, through a charcoal study, I realized that Toby Fox presents Undyne as childish. Not only is she presented as a really on-the-nose mythological hero, but she genuinely sees herself as a superhero that will save the world because of the power of friendship. Is it a bad thing? Nope. In fact, I think that narratively, this subtle presentation of Undyne the Undying as a childish version of herself is both beautiful and devastating. The child in her that is stronger than the idea of simply being a god. she genuinely wants to be, thinks she is, and embodies the very idea of a hero. And you can't crush those dreams by defeating her. And not because she isn't that, but because she was cheated. And Toby Fox didn't tell us. He made us feel as if we were the cheaters here. Truly, the battle against her was a battle against a true hero.
Subscribe.